I'm very hard on my body.
Mm-hmm. You're a guy.
Not a ton of water.
So that's what we do.
I'm a lot more Mountain Dew and an energy drink. I run late from one thing to another all day. Mm-hmm. And so when I do eat during the day, it's usually fast food.
Yep.
And then when I get home, I'm not blaming this on him, but I know it's like a subconscious habit that I picked up from my dad. But like when I get home, it's bag of chips, it's bag of pretzels, it's whatever, something that I can just go grab in the pantry. Goldfish,
quick calories, usually carbs,
string cheese.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for string cheese and Mountain Dew.
There you go.
So, but anyway, so like I look at my body like that, and I'm definitely slowing down. Mm-hmm. Mentally, I'm slowing down. I can feel it physically. I mean, I'm 34. It's more often I'm doing a 12-hour day.
Right.
If I'm under 12 hours, that's pretty rare. Mm-hmm. Sunday's the one day that I'm usually still working, but I just take it slower. I'm not like running from one thing to another. And so like something like that, someone like me, and I have, in my, generations behind me, there's arthritis, there's MS, there's, fibromyalgia, all that stuff can be helped by going here.
Yeah, we get the different array of folks that we have coming in. So everything from super elite athletes that are not only using it for the recovery aspect, but it's like blood doping a little bit, because your plasma gets 700 to 800 times the amount of oxygen that it normally doesn't have. So if you go into a sporting event, when you get muscle burnout, what's happening is the oxygen is being forced out of your muscles, and then lactic acid comes in and replaces it. But if you have this giant store of oxygen there, you can go push yourself a lot harder and a lot longer. I mean, Michael Phelps was living in hyperbaric chambers through his run. And everybody's like, oh, God, he can just swim forever and never get tired. What's he doing? I'm like, a little hyperbaric magic there for you, buddy. I mean, he worked his butt off. He ate. But when you get that elite level athlete, everybody's so close. Sometimes it's something like that one's doing and the rest aren't, that lets them be champions. So
yeah. Anything else on that? I kind of want to jump into your other stuff.
No. Hyperbarics, if you have any chronic conditions, and even if you've been told that there's nothing you can do for it, just get on Google and type in whatever your illness is, and then the HBOT, that's the shortened version of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And more likely than not, there will be studies showing that hyperbarics can help.
Well, like you'd mentioned autoimmune. It seems like that's what's thrown around a ton nowadays.
Yes. Yeah, one of my most favorite things in the world, because I think it allows people to be really lazy in the healthcare world. Well, we know there's a problem and we can see there's inflammation, but we can't find any microbes with our shitty testing that we offer. So it must be your immune system attacking your healthy tissue. And it's like, why for 12,000 years have we had this most unbelievable gift that was given to us called our immune system? I mean, it's so more advanced than any other animal on the planet. Now, why in the last 100 years is it just going haywire and attacking, our tissue? And I struggle with it.
Why do you think it is?
So I think this goes all the way back to the day when chemicals were made. So what they do now in medicine is they call them forever chemicals, because throughout history, Homo sapiens were able to evolve with their environment, right? But when you took these different molecules, metals, different things, and combine them together to create chemicals, that's like a 10,000-year jump in the future. And our bodies still haven't been able to get the capacity that once we are carrying these chemicals to remove them naturally. And so I think that's what's not only kicked off the autoimmune thing, but I think that's why people are so sick these days and why cancer's out of control. Because before, chemicals were there, mom was just passing down microbiome, some infection stuff, whatever. But now kids are being born with 7, 8, 9 forever chemicals already in their system. And a lot of them are carcinogens. And so they affect everything inside of our body. They mess with our hormones. They mess with our methylation, our detox. And there's so many of them now that affect us in so many different ways that it's kind of become a conundrum for medicine. And I think this is why the autoimmune thing starts to happen as well, because the body knows there's poison inside of it and that it needs to get it out. But if you just follow conventional medicine routes, they say, hey, they're forever chemicals. There's nothing you can do about it. But through functional medicine and through some of the world-renowned naturopaths that I work with, there are ways to bind to these things, get them out of the body, and then let the body finally start functioning like it should. So
it's like you said, so basically we took evolution 50 years faster than it should have, and our bodies haven't caught up.
Yeah, probably thousands of years faster. Because if for the world we live in to be able to make chemicals happen naturally, it would take so much time and pressure to make that happen. So again, that is a thing that most people don't pay attention to, but it needs to start becoming more mainstream. Because like me, for instance, we had a naturopath roll into town, a world-renowned one, and he sends blood work off to Germany. And they do what they call an IgL test, and it looks for these chemicals inside your cells and a bunch of other things. And I'd just gotten healthy. I'd worked around fuel for 20 years. Before I got sick, I was what they called a fuel technician, worked on gas station stuff all the time. And came back from Germany that I had 6 chemicals in me and 5 of them were carcinogens. So my chance of not getting cancer was probably 0%. And so through these IVs that this doctor designed for me and everything like that, which would bind to those chemicals and drag them out, I did something like 20 or 30 of these IVs, sent the blood work off to Germany, came back, guess what? No more forever chemicals in me. But my kids, they have more chemicals in me than I did. And I was working around fuel for 20 years because they got the worst part of me and whatever chemicals their mother had. And that's why every generation, in my opinion, of Americans is getting sicker and sicker and sicker, because these kids are being born with so many forever chemicals and heavy metals and different things inside of them. It's impossible for the body to do what it needs to do.
Is this a U.S. problem, or do you think this is a global problem?
Well, it's mainly a U.S. problem because the rules and regulations for allowing some of these chemicals is a lot less than it would be anywhere else in the world.
Okay.
For instance, like you look at electromagnetic fields, right? Like they tell you here, your cell phone doesn't bother you, your router in your house, high-powered wires, they don't bother you. Well, the United States, on average, we have 4 times more allowed EMFs in our building codes than in other parts of the world. Like in Europe and Australia, South Africa, they know what these waves do to our bodies. And so when they build homes, it is so much stricter to not allow electromagnetic fields into this home, into those homes. But here, there's nothing wrong with it. We just have this stew of things that we're exposed to here on such high levels that has now pushed us to like the 32nd healthiest nation in the world. Like we're right next to Grenada and like Chad in Africa. And yet we spend, I don't know how much more money on healthcare, because it's healthcare to just try to fix symptoms of all these things, where in other parts of the world, they're just like, no, we know what causes a lot of these. We're just not going to allow these specific things to, for our people to be exposed to them.
We're just going to cut out the beginning.
Yeah. We're just going to know that, if you use this dye in food, we know that what that does to kids neurologically. So guess what? We're going to make it illegal. And here in the United States, it's like, you want to have Skittles red, look really, really red, and you want your Swedish fish to be red and all these different things in your cereals. And then you wonder why kids have ADHD and need to be, put on amphetamines so they can calm down. So
what about Yellow 5? That's a big one in Mountain Dew, it looks like.
Not a good one. It's not a good one. Again, it's a chemical bond of some sort. So our body doesn't have any really good way of removing that from our system.
I got you.
The body will stuff it away where it can and hope and pray to God it doesn't kick off some horrible disease in your body.